Today I'm going to show you how to make Mutter Paneer. Mutter Paneer is a kind of a tomato curry with peas and homemade Indian cottage cheese called paneer. So first we're going to start with clarified butter. You need about 3 tablespoons of clarified butter. You just heat that up. Clarified butter is what happens when you melt butter and skim the foam off the top. Usually it's strained to take out any particles, and it kind of works like oil. It doesn't have any proteins that can burn very easily, so it's better for high heat cooking than regular butter is. And it also has none of the other ingredients that butter has, like water, that dilutes the oil. When the butter is melted, we're going to add some ground cumin to that and fry it in the butter, in the clarified butter, until it becomes fragrant, which is about 30 seconds or 45 seconds. Okay, and then you add your onions. Now the onions need to cook until they're golden brown in the butter and the cumin, and that takes about 20 minutes or so. You don't have to stand over it, but you do have to stir it often so that it doesn't burn and so that it browns evenly. So our onions are nice and golden, and at this point we want to add our ginger and garlic and stir that in there really well, and then just let it cook for a few minutes until you can really smell the garlic and ginger. And then you add the rest of your spices, which are coriander, turmeric, cayenne, paprika, and pepper. Now, it's very important that you keep stirring this as much as possible. You don't want it to sit on the hot surface very long at all, and you shouldn't let it cook for more than about 30 seconds or so, because if the paprika scorches, it's going to give your dish a bitter taste. Okay, so now we add the tomato. It's a 1.5 cups of crushed tomatoes. Turn down the heat a little bit, and we just let that cook for a couple of minutes, about 5 minutes or so. So this has been cooking for about 5 minutes, and now we're going to add some hot water, about 2 cups. And just stir that really well. Turn up the heat to high. And then when that comes to a boil, we'll cover it and turn it down. So this is coming to a boil, so I'm just going to give it a little stir and cover it and turn it down. And then it cooks for about, you let it simmer for about 15-20 minutes. So this is the paneer. We're going to cut this into squares. And any loose bits that break off we'll just kind of press together and use, because there's no reason not to. So now we just need to flour these pieces. The flouring helps keep the cheese from splattering when you're frying. It also helps give it a nice color. And then we're going to fry these, and these get added almost at the end of the cooking time for the dish. Okay, so now we're going to fry the paneer. We need about 3 tablespoons or so of clarified butter. that over medium-high heat. Okay. When the butter is melted, you want to add about half the cheese into the pan. You don't want to put all of the cheese in there because you need enough space to flip the cheese when it's browned on each side. And you just want it to cook until it's golden on one side, and then flip it over and cook it until golden on the other side. You fry the paneer so that it maintains its shape, and also caramelizes the surface of the cheese, which gives it a nice texture and also adds flavor. You also don't want it to cook too long because then it's too crunchy and it feels, the texture is a little spongy if it cooks too long. Now we're going to turn off the heat for this, and we're going to use an immersion blender to make it smoother. You don't want it to be too smooth, so you still want it to have a little texture. So you see this has a nice, it's not perfectly smooth, but it's not as chunky as it was before. And now we're going to turn the heat back on to about medium. And then we're going to add the peas. And the salt. And just give it a stir. And we're going to let that cook for about 5 minutes. So the peas are cooked now, and all that's left to do is add the paneer. So we're just going to gently slide that in there. And give it a stir. And then let that cook for a couple of minutes, and then we're ready to finish. So this has been cooking for a few minutes. We're just going to give it a final stir and take it off the heat. So we're about to serve this. So I'm going to add the final ingredient, which is garam masala. And that should only be added after the cooking is done, or right before serving. Okay. And here's your final product, Mutter Paneer.